Today, we are going to make some grass. No, I'm not in Colorado, so it's not going to be that kind of grass. It's our techniques that are so simple and sensible, your mowers will practically build themselves. Hello folks, it's Mad Dog Merv. We are getting real close to the 4th of July. I wanted to go over the train that I put together for July this year. I've really been excited about this. You see, back in, late December, I sat down and I decided that on the train table, I wanted to do kind of a theme for every holiday. And then that kind of changed to every month because, well, there's so many neat trains that could be done. And we've shown you some of them already that we've done. The one for St. Patrick's Day I thought was real fun. February 14th, I've got one for that now. The one for Halloween is going to be awesome. That's going to be a lot of fun. But the one I was really looking forward to doing was back in, 1975, I believe it was. Late part of 1975. There was a train that came to town here in Salt Lake City, down at the Union Station, and it was called the American Freedom Train. And I was a young kid. But I do remember this red, white, and blue train had some big windows and had some neat stuff like the Lunar Rover and, stuff like that. My parents paid the money. We went through this little conveyor thing that took us all through these train cars and kind of showed a bunch of stuff from American history. Which I thought was really neat back then. Of course, I was young. I didn't take any pictures. My dad didn't take any pictures. I wish he had. Anyway, I remember that train, and I thought, what better for the 4th of July than the American Freedom Train? So, I got studying, and come to find out, yeah, there's a lot more to it than I can do in a very short time. So this is going to be a very, very long-term project. Probably several years to get it completed, but let's show you where we're going to start. So, you guys have seen on some of my videos, beginning of this video, there is this 4449 by Bachmann. It is lights, DCC sound, the whole thing. It's really, really cool. And it retails, its list price is $399. Its sale price was $279, and because Mad Dog Merv is awesome, and I know all of the hobby people around here, and we work all sorts of deals, I think I paid $200 for it. Pretty cool, huh? Anyway, this thing runs great. 4449 was one of the original Southern Pacific Daylight painted Daylight. This Daylight scheme, yeah, Daylight locomotives. And anyway, it survives to this day. It was revitalized and painted red, white, and blue for the American Freedom Train. So we're going to get to see this run here in a little bit. And put it over here. Now we're going to look at the cars. We're going to kind of go through the cars with you, and let me show you what I got. So I got 3 sets of the Lionel American Freedom Train cars. And that's still not enough to build this entire train, but it's a great start. So in that comes car number 101, which is President Kennedy, and it looks like Eisenhower on it. There is this observation car. You notice these are going to take a lot of painting and detailing. Yeah. Lionel, bless their hearts, back then, their little pea-picking hearts back then, quality wasn't very good. But it was the only game in town when it came to the American Freedom Train. So we've got this observation car we're going to be doing some work with. Let's see what else we have. It's another Kennedy car. Oh yeah, one of the display cars. This one I've already taken all of the parts out of because we're going to refurbish this and go through, and we're going to do it the right way. There's actually one of these in each set, but I now have 3. I only need 2 because there was only 2 ever. So I'm going to have to convert one into something else. Another observation car. Flatbed cars, we're going to talk about those later. Oh, look, our car 110, which is the early years 1776. Looks like. So I have 2 of those. I need a total of 10 of these display cars, and I have 6. So I'm going to need to do some work there. I've got some other cars that I'm going to turn into Freedom Train cars. Here is one of those window display cars. Anyway, this is number 41. This is what came in it, and it's not correct. We'll go over that later. So, and then the last thing that comes in this American Freedom Train set from Lionel is this beauty here. One of their engines. It is a FA1, which is incorrect. It should be a PA1. Actually, this is an FA2. So this is a freight locomotive. And this is not correct for American Freedom Train. This is kind of close to correct for the 1947 American Freedom Train, and we'll talk about that later. But anyway, this is what I've got in the set. So let's go and let's start looking at how we're going to change these around and how we're going to build the American Freedom Train for the 4th of July. Stick with us.
Here's 4449 up and running. Everything looks good. Let's hope that this will pull this train. So I started searching eBay for American Freedom Train in HO scale. And every once in a while I would find something and it was too expensive, or I just didn't get a chance to bid on it for whatever reason. But this one here is the first one that I won. And with shipping, it cost me $66. The engine ran good. Everything was in pretty good shape. And so this was a good starting point for what I needed. But I got thinking I could convert a whole bunch of different cars, or I could just buy more sets off eBay. So then I got this set, which did not have the engine in it, but it was in pretty good shape. You see all the trucks are there. I think there was one piece of the glass plastic front that had cracked, but that was it. Anyway, I paid $38 with shipping for this set. So we're well on our way. And finally, this one popped up. Now, the engine on this doesn't run. It's missing some parts. It did come with a transformer and some extra track. It was missing a couple of trucks as well as that very first set I got. But this one, I paid a grand total of $45 for, including shipping. So not too bad. Let's take a look at what I really need to build. Here's a great picture of the American Freedom Train. And you'll notice that the first car after the tender is an old heavyweight type of car. So as I did some studies and found out all of the cars that I needed to build, this was known as the tool car that actually came with 4449. So I had to find a baggage car, a heavyweight baggage. And this set that I got from MRS a while back had a bunch of different interesting things, but on the very far left you'll see a very long, very large baggage car that, well, it just happens to perfectly fit the bill for what I need to do. So here it is, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to take it apart. I'm going to shoot it a nice white color. I'm going to add a little bit of tan to it because the rest of these Freedom Train cars from Lionel aren't perfectly white. And then I'll get some stripes on it. We'll go from there. So right behind that is a flatbed, but it's like an 80-foot flatbed. Actually, a couple of them. And it's going to take me a while to get those and whatnot. So for now, I'm just going to use this little short one that I have from Tyco. Get it painted up white. The display cars that come in the set, the Lionel sets, aren't too bad. However, they are inaccurate. The very first one is supposed to have it's called the Arabian. It's a steam locomotive. The Friendship fire engine from George Washington's Fire Company, and a 1904 Oldsmobile. And that's not what's in here. The second car is supposed to have a lunar rover test vehicle, a big map, and what's called the Freedom Bell, which was a twice-size replica of the Liberty Bell. And you can see that here. So then we move on to the actual display cars. There were 10 of these. It starts out with one called The Beginning, 1776 to 1778. And they kind of go from there in about 10-year, I don't want to say 10-year increments, but yeah, something close to that. This is one I would really like to replicate, this one from the Civil War with Lincoln, and it shows Jackson there on the side. Anyway, the other one that comes in the set, besides that first one with George Washington, is the one that comes with President Lincoln, President Kennedy and President Eisenhower. So I have 3 of these. Obviously, I've got to do some work to get all of the 10 that I need done, but at least I got 6 to start with. And finally, the observation car. And I have 3 of these now, and I only need the one to put on the end, so 2 of them I can convert to something else. The first thing I wanted to do was tear apart one of these display cars and start getting everything accurate. You can see the contents of it. And the lunar rover actually goes in a different one. So I'm going to start with this bell. This is exactly what it looks like, the kind of nasty looking plastic. So I got to do something. So I'm going to take gold from Tamiya, and I'm going to spray this down and give it that nice kind of a gold sheen to it. But then I'm going to take this dark metallic gray from Tamiya, and I'm going to give it a light overspray. And this gives me that kind of a I don't know, bronzy look. Anyway, I do like the look of this. I think it's going to be just fine for what we're doing. So it's going to take me a year or so to get that all done. So let's just put together what I've got, and let's see how this runs. Wow, even with just the 12 cars that I have, and you can see the tool car and the flatbed there, and here's the display cars. With just 12 cars, this thing is really long and really cool. But the engine's having a hard time pulling it, so I definitely got to do some changes to it. Spent my 4th of July putting this thing together and running it. I figured I should run some other Bicentennial things. So here is an engine that I got from my cousin, Jim Gerbig. I got it in this lot. This is from like 1977. He's had it all of these years in storage, and I took it out and it ran pretty good. So I acquired a couple of other pieces as well. I've got a F unit. I've got a couple of Bicentennial box cars and another very nice Bicentennial caboose. And I've put these on the train table, and we're going to run them, and William absolutely loves this.
Grandpa, you like me?
Yeah, oh, listen to that.
One fun thing about being out in the doghouse is when it gets dark, we'll turn on the LED lights, do some red, white, and blue flashes, and sit back and watch fireworks.